If you aren't familiar with the website MySpace, Facebook, and Zanga, then you probably aren't aware of pro-eating disorder websites aimed at adolescents. The sites promote anorexia and bulimia as a lifestyle choice, not an eating disorder. They give advice on how to lose weight, how to purge oneself, and on methods of avoiding detection by parents. A new study, appearing in this month's issue of Pediatrics, sheds light on their popularity with teens. To better understand these findings is Dr. Richard Pesakoff, a psychiatrist from Baylor College of Medicine, which specializes in eating disorders. Joining us by phone. Welcome, doctor.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, what is a pro-eating disorder website? I have to be honest, I didn't even know what you were talking about.
Well, it's a website that encourages people to stay anorexic or to stay bulimic, to continue to lose far too much weight than is healthy, or to eat too much and then to throw up.
So just so our viewers know, if you go to these websites, you see images of celebrities like Nicole Richie or something that are very, very thin and say, you know, this is sexy, why don't you follow this?
Right. You see some of the images of the high-fashion models, the people who just have a thin layer of skin and the bones are protruding, and it's made out to be something that's desirable, something to emulate.
But what I don't understand is who is making these websites?
Well, some of them are actually done by patients with this disorder. And given the status of the Internet has a number of different kinds of websites, many of which are fringe websites. But, you know, in a democracy, freedom rules. So they're made by people who are themselves usually eating disordered individuals.
Now, this study specifically in pediatrics looked at how many parents knew about these sites, number one, and number two, the percent of parents that knew if their kids visited them. Can you go over that?
Well, it applies not only to this particular area, but to parents in general. It talks about how very few parents are truly aware of where their children go on the Internet. So really over half the parents didn't have a clue as to the fact that their children were going and their teenagers were going to these websites. They had no idea. They let their kids go on carte blanche. They have no supervision. And these kids could go to these websites, or they could go to lots of other websites on the Internet.
Now, there's also something called I guess the recovery, they call it the recovery eating disorder sites. But these also weren't really pro-recovery. They were kind of hidden messages inside those to lose more weight.
Well, there are actually two groups of pro-recovery. You're correct. There's the one that really means well, that acts like a support group for recovering eating disordered patients. And then you have that kind of thin veneer of, yes, we're an eating disorders recovery group, but underneath that thin layer, what you have is a website that really teaches you new ways to stay anorexic, to stay thin, new ways to purge, new ways to diet, to go undetected. So you have actually two different kinds of, quote, pro-recovery groups.
Well, this article was kind of critical of parents. Give me some advice for parents watching of, number one, are they supposed to keep records of all the websites their teenager went to? Or when are they supposed to start questioning them after they notice that they've lost weight? How do you help a parent with this?
Well, if you have a child or you have a teenager who has an eating disorder and they have access to the Internet, then I think it behooves you to be on top of what your daughter or it's mostly daughters, but could be a son, where they're going, how they're using the Internet, so that you can maintain supervision. The Internet is a new, magnificent process, but it comes into your home and it brings with it a number of very interesting, sometimes very helpful and sometimes not so helpful avenues for people to investigate. When you have teenagers, I think there's an added responsibility for parents to maintain vigilance, not only for eating disordered individuals, for any teenager who goes online. I think all of our teenagers need to be supervised, more so if they have a special disorder, such as an eating disorder.
And is there, we only have a couple seconds, but
Sure.
is the American Academy of Pediatrics trying to put on their website some of these major pro-eating disorder sites so parents can know whether to block them or whether to go at least
Yes.
go look at them?
Yes, they are. But I think, when you kind of surf the internet, if you give your teenager that privilege, you have to be aware that they can go anywhere, including some of these places which encourage you to continue to be unhealthy. They don't necessarily only go to the pro websites. Most of them go online out of curiosity, and then they go to these websites because they're curious as to what it is that they're saying.
Well, great, Doctor. That's all the time we have. And thank you for helping us explore this article called Surfing for Thinness.
Thank you.